Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Moving the Magnets as we wait for the extended teams to be released at 6:20 p.m. Will the Pies continue to manage players, or will we see early returns for players like Billy Frampton and Dan Houston? It's time for all things black and white. And here we are. Welcome, everybody. I hope we're all well. This Thursday evening, going into a game that I'm hoping we're just going to use as a launch pad to get into the premiership form, the premiership run. I feel like it starts this week. You can't go into Brisbane next week with the mindset that all starts there. In my opinion, I feel like there just has to be this kill mentality going in against the Tigers on Sunday, almost like we did the relentless fashion in the way that we did against them in the preseason. Maybe we can rekindle that accuracy from that game in this game. Don't waste it all. Save it for the games to come. But yes, bring us some accuracy. That would be nice. Rando says, please rush Houston back so he can run laps for 6 weeks. Jesus Christ. We will see. It's enthralling if we're going to bring players back earlier than expected, and if we're going to manage more players, and if so, what does that look like? Does that mean a debut for a certain player? What does it mean? Many moving parts. We'll get the extended teams, as I said, at 6:20. We'll do a little bit of a rolling predicted 23 in a sec as well to see where we're at, because when we did the predicted 23 on Tuesday, we had come to learn the following morning that unfortunately Beau McCreary has endured some form of a hamstring strain. Awareness, call it what you want. I feel like awareness, calf awareness, hamstring awareness, groin awareness. It's the new euphemism that has simply stormed the footy world, the sporting world, the physical therapy world, in my opinion. It's a euphemism. Beau McCreary out again. He's done his hamstring for a third time. Lots to talk about today. The constant injuries, the team selection, and players' mindset. Mr. Negative Pessimist, the pessimist, Mark Neville. There he is. Welcome. Manny, exactly, Mark. They will give Beau more time now, 4 weeks. Keep him on ice until Melbourne, but give him the best block possible in the extra weeks, says Ben. Benny Zero, welcome, my friend. Keep him on ice until Melbourne. When you get this situation where you're having recurring instances of the same muscle experiencing recurring soft tissue blows in the same year, that's where you start to get a little bit sweaty. That's where you do get a little bit concerned. In retrospect, right? Hindsight is 2020. You could say, why was Beau playing 50% midfield time? Why didn't we manage his time on ground? Look, at the end of the day, he got the tick of approval. He was flying at training. I saw that with my own eyes. That's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Rick, we are getting a lot of foot and soft tissue injuries. I hope it's not our training track. The club had concerns a few years ago with the ground being hard. Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, my friend. Tony, Matty, how are you, mate? How are you? Houston plays. Stefanos, welcome. Timothy, my friend, welcome. Yasu Bevia. Pies Footy Crew, welcome. Here we are. Manoli Madness. Ella. Our drive for the flag all starts this one. Couldn't have said it better myself, Timothy. Shane P, need a big win so I can get over our last 2 weeks. So flat. No, there's nothing worse than losing a close thriller at the G on a Sunday to end your weekend. That's the worst part. It's the worst part to it all. Munya Ella Ken. Rowan Steele. We'll have a look at the predicted 23. We'll see if he's a chance. Did they rush him back too quickly? You can always make that argument after the fact, but I guarantee you most of you in the chat would have been happy with the decision to play him, especially given this conversation of let's manage players. You guys you're getting a little bit sick of that narrative. I don't believe that you guys would have said let's rest Beau McCreary or let's not rush Beau McCreary back in light of that. In light of getting sick of that management narrative. Melissa says, so disappointed about Beau's hammy. He had such an amazing game. I know, unbelievable. He was supposed to do 70%, but they played him. Where did you hear this, End Times? Where did you hear that he was supposed to have 70% time on ground, but ended up with 83%? I would have thought there would have been some sort of management there, and I would have thought I didn't think he'd attend as much midfield time as he did. I think I recall that game against Freo was the third most amount of time he's spent in the midfield in his career off the back of a hammy. It's because he is an explosive player. That's why he's popping hammies. He might need to adjust the way he plays. It tends to be those players with that explosiveness. It's almost as if their athleticism is just too much for their own body, really. Look at Degoe, explosive player. But, yeah, maybe just how jolty they are, the body just can't withstand that for whatever reason. Is there a conversation to be had around, does Beau need to adjust his running mechanics to absorb the loads better? It's difficult. A lot of it comes down to genetics. As I become a little bit older year on year, I come to learn that some things are out of your control. That's just the way it goes. So working around it is one thing. Timothy, I will not be at the G, my friend. Every single indicator would have pointed to Beau being ready. Exactly. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Mitchell back this Sunday. I hear so. Unfortunately, once you do a hammy, you become more prone to doing it. And I think it just comes down to being hyper aware of that area where you've previously injured yourself. You're always mindful and you're always touching and feeling and worried about that area. Any sort of awareness to that area, it's going to be exacerbated. I mean, I remember doing my groin time after time, and my groin injuries would come on much sooner rather than later every single time I got back because I was so worried. Like there is a neuroscience behind it, if you guys are familiar with this, but you become hypersensitive to the stimulus around that certain area. So my groin, as soon as there was a little niggle, I would, in my mind, I'd be catastrophizing. I would become hypersensitive. It's just a whole rabbit hole like this. The pain, I think it's called, search the pain gate. I think it's called the pain gate or the spinal gate. You guys look into that. It's a real thing. It's really fascinating. If you want to learn more about the neuroscience behind injuries, any kind of injury for that matter, it's helped with my back. It's helped with my groin. Those are two chronic issues I've had in my adulthood. Read into it, guys. I'm curious though, if you have heard of it, let me know in the comment section in the chat. I feel like because we've qualified, there is more conservative. AB, welcome. I think there is more conservative with player management. It's a balancing act, and also can't help to think to fly, showing his hand and keeping cards close to his chest. I think there is an element of that, and I simply think that was probably, if it's not this week because it's Richmond, I think this will be the last opportunity to rest any players before we slingshot into the finals. McRae said that they overplayed him. Oh. Where did you hear this? Baklava. Nervous. Can understand playing Beau more middle to give other players an in-game rest. 50% though, that's because it's the third most amount of time he spent in midfield, Ben. I think it's a little bit over the top coming back from a hamstring. What about Timmy down back? Nah. Will we get a fully healthy, congestive team by finals time? We can only hope, Matty. We can seriously only hope. Checkers, McStay up forward. Nah, just it'll be the Triple M's. Hopefully, the club can make mistakes too. It happens. It's the way you take a risk. Oh, a divided household, Melissa. All the best. Enemies for an hour, a little bit longer than an hour, I'd say. The teams will be out at 6:20. Mr. Brendan. Yep, it's a nightmare. Should we do a watch along on Saturday for the VFL game if De Goey is said to be in the team? I'll do a poll. It's a Saturday night VFL watch along on Saturday. This is all contingent on whether De Goey plays. What do you reckon? I need at least 40 yeses from the poll. I need 40 yeses by the time we end this poll. I think we're always going to get rest up to the Richmond game unless we were doing real bad. I'm sure Brisbane is circled on the board for sure. Has to start now. We need to keep perspective that Richmond beat the bottom of the ladder with a couple of West Coast best players out. We will smash Richmond. I'd like to think we'd smash them. The irony in all of this is they're on a 2-game win streak. We're on a 2-game losing streak. So read into that how you wish. Continuous hamstring injuries are caused by inadequate warm-ups and soft tissue quad deficiencies, says Mark. Yasu Andoni from Perth. Need someone at the Frainers to show the game. Need someone at Frainers to show the game. Sorry, Timothy, I don't quite understand where you're going with that one. Shall we have a look at this? Should we look into a rolling predictor 23? We don't really smash anyone, is true. A heap of rain coming through this weekend. Pies need to be at their best. Richmond would be praying for more rain. A heap of rain coming through this weekend. Hope we're doing a lot of stoppage work at training. I'll be there tomorrow. So we'll see what's cooking at training. Predicted 23. So let's get this moving. Bo McCreary out. Now you remember we picked a player to rest. We were going to go with Nick Dacos potentially. We're also maybe thinking we ended up opting for Ned Long because we feel like Ned Long's had a real long stretch in the side. He plays a tough role that where he gets battered, whereby he gets battered most games. Nick Dacos is playing for that Brownlow, so good luck trying to get Nick to rest. We know Tom Mitchell's coming in just based off his podcast, based off the post-game interview after Fremantle. I would think if I was Fly, I'm like, all right, let's rest Ned Long. And let's see if Tom Mitchell can hold this position. I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement that these two cannot play in the same side, although it may happen against Richmond. It could happen. Jen was saying, you can only read into this so much because it's training, but they had Nick Dacos off halfback and they had Pendles, they had steel side bottom Tom Mitchell and Ned Long in the middle for centre bounce. So it's a watch. Nevertheless, we'll stick with thinking that Ned Long will be the rest. That'll be the managed player. So that's 4. Who comes in now? Who comes in? We've got Rowan Steele, who kicked 4 goals. It's not like for like, but what can happen here? This is what can happen here. I think it's Rowan Steele, to be fair. Lipinski reverts back to that half-forward role that he's been playing intermittently. And then you bring in Rowan Steele, who will go through the wing rotations. I think it's pretty simple in the end. What do we think about that? Jeez, it's quite unanimous. You guys do want a VFL watch along on Saturday. I said 40 votes. We've nearly got that in 3 minutes. Gee whiz. All right. Saturday night it is. You, me, watching Frankston versus Collingwood. Hopefully De Goey plays. It all depends on whether De Goey plays, okay? What do you guys do on a Saturday night? You guys really love Collingwood. If you were watching the VFL on your Saturday night, you really love. I love Collingwood. I probably don't love the VFL as much as some of you do, but crazy, the commitment. I admire it. I'll be there though. I'll be there. I'll be here. We'll do it. Going back to the Predictor 23, is there anything else we can see being changed here? What did Swanee say, AB? What did he say? What's AB saying? Did everyone see Dane Swan's comment regarding managing Nick's loads? Tell us, AB. Enlighten us. Only 20 minutes from you, Benny. Go have a suss. Fair. Can we hear from Manny tonight? Want to hear? We probably won't have time, my friend, Mr. Mark. You'll get Manny probably on Sunday in the pre-game, and you'll definitely get him in the post-game. Houston plays, you reckon, Timmy? Welcome, Stewie. Pez on a wing? Nah. I think we just go, Lipinski here. Rowan Steele comes into this rotation. DiMattia probably won't get a chance. Will Hayes, he only probably gets the opportunity if we really want to keep that speed in the side. He hasn't been playing amazingly in the VFL. Steve OFN, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you around. Shall we have a look at Twitter and see if there's anything cooking here? Let me check what's going on. Any updates? Any leaks? 20 minutes. Jen on Twitter says Tommy McGuan training with the VFL. Should we all be playing like Collingwood? Is that anything else? Nothing real. No real break. Nothing really breaking from Twitter. Collingwood fathers. Who's this from? Collingwood father-son prospect Tom McGuan ran good patterns, playing mostly on a wing, while he also had some rotations as a half-forward and on-baller. I think he's quite natural as a winger, says Moorcroft. I thought he was really silky on the outside. He held his width. He had real discipline. That's what I've been saying about... That's what I've been saying about McGuan. I don't think he's an inside mid. I don't think he's much of a mid. I think he's much an outside player for now. So when we do see him in the black and white, probably expect him to play those outside roles. Why do you think Long is not playing? It's not that I don't think Long is playing. So my justification, Stewie, with Ned Long was they're not going to... I just don't think Nick Dacos is going to accept a game to be rested. If Tom Mitchell is in, I would like to think that they want to see Tom Mitchell without Ned Long on the side and make a decision from there. In what world do we as a fan base see Ned Long and Tom Mitchell playing in the same side? I don't know. Stu Peters, I heard Tom McGuan might be playing in the VFL this year as 23rd. It would be nice though. It would be nice to see Tom McGuan play some senior footy in the VFL, but you run the risk if he plays well, does his draft stocks go up and a team bids on him a little bit earlier? Yeah, DiMattia sounds like, is it Andy Otten, our VFL coach? He said that we're probably not going to see DiMattia debut at AFL level, which really, if it wasn't going to be against Richmond and if it wasn't going to be against Melbourne at the end of the year, then where can you really see DiMattia fit into all of this right now? It makes sense. Makes sense, doesn't it? Do you guys have any other variations of this Predictor 23? Are you all pretty comfortable with how this is all looking? How far away is Bobby Hill? Well, he's not available this week, is what we know. Hopefully next week he's back to work. Hopefully he can. He's been training. I'm intrigued to see if he trains tomorrow. I'm not quite sure if he was at training yesterday. But yeah, they had their first main session yesterday, main session tomorrow. They'll have a captain's run on Saturday. So this is where we're at. You reckon that's it, Benny? You reckon that's the one? Good. Hill versus the Lions and Hill and DeGoey versus the Lions. I think Steen might come in. You reckon Houston in or Oh, that's right. Goodness, we forgot because Houston, by the sounds of things, will be in the side. So, off that basis, guys, I think Markov comes out. Do you think so? I think this is what happens. I think that's the one. So we go. We could have, guys, look at that. If we do have one player managed as well, and with this one we've got Long, Dan Houston, that's 5 changes. It's a lot of changes this time of the year. Just let's steady the ship. I don't think DeGoey will be a sub for the Richmond game for 2 reasons. One, they've reported that he'll play VFL if he gets through training. And 2, if we're trying to manage him and get him right and conditioned, if he plays as a sub against Richmond, what if he has to come on in the first quarter due to an injury? Then he has to play a full game. That's not on the cards for DeGoey. I'd be surprised with the Houston inclusion. That's what I'm saying. What else are we saying? Bobby back in as a sub next week? Maybe. Sammy wants Bobby. I think we all want Bobby, mate. DeGoey, yeah, we already saw that. Yeah, Dan in for Oleg for sure. Are we on the same page there? Play Nick up forward. We might see that. I'd be surprised with the Houston inclusion. Ab injuries can be weird. You'd think with the news of Bo, maybe we approach Houston a bit more conservatively and learn from that. But I heard early in the week that I can't remember where I heard it from, but I heard that he's in line for an early return. Was it Xander Maguire, Eddie's son? Was he the one who broke that? Changes need to be made. Don't want to make them for the next 2. Yeah, so it could potentially be 5 changes, but after this, no more 4 or 5 changes unless they're absolutely forced. We need a steady. Chris, welcome. I'm good. How are you? BC, how are you? What's going on? So we still got... Let's look at our best. So really, with McCreary being a forced out, as far as our best players who aren't available that will need to come back in, we'll have 4 players. Given there's no more injuries or suspensions or personal leave, we need to bring 4 players back at some point. That's what it looks like. Hopefully it remains as that and nothing more. AJ wildcard fault. It's coming from a long way back, that's for sure. To be fair. Do you think Markov and Sullivan could get dropped this week? I'd be surprised if Sullivan gets dropped this week. I wouldn't be surprised if Markov gets dropped. I could see that after his game against Fremantle, and seeing as Houston could potentially be back. McCreary is a huge loss. Sure is. Mark says Frampton, Mitchell, Membry, Steele will be in out. Dean, McCreary, Pendlebury managed, just got a feeling. Do you think Pendlebury will be managed after being the sub for Gold Coast as well? I don't know. And we've still Sidebottom's been managed recently. To me, it just sounds like a Nick Dacos or Ned Long job to be rested. Love him, but if AJ plays a game, we're probably in deep shit. Just to put it kindly, hey, Benny? True? AJ will be delisted unless they're... Yeah, that's reality. As far as... When you have 3 players you need to bring into the side in McCarthy, Saxena, and McGuan, that's 3 players in the national draft. We also have 2 players on a long-term injury list, which is why we have another additional 2 players currently on the list with Noah Howes and Rowan Steele. So potentially, if Rowan Steele and Noah Howes are to keep their spot, on top of Harvey Harrison and Reef McInnes, who have already re-signed, so they're not being delisted. So you've got, what's that? 5, you need to make 5 spaces. You need to make 5 delistings. If we throw in Silvani, if we throw in getting a free agent, we might have to make 6 list changes to get those players in. Were you guys aware of that? 6 players will need to be delisted if my mathematics is correct. Because we're at maximum capacity with our list. Doug Kerr, it's a long stretch, isn't it, that one, at the moment? Oh. Nick said he wants to play forward, but doesn't want to upset Elliott and Hill. End times, when you say these things, where are you hearing them from? BC, this will be the last week for second tier players being selected. Next 4-week block will be ramping up to this. And that's right. So players like Lockie Sullivan and Rowan Steele, and to a lesser extent, Ed Allen, these are the players that probably have 1 or 2 more weeks left in them, those fringe players, to have all-time performances. Not necessarily to keep these players out, but to shake something up here. And that probably includes Tom Mitchell right now. We're 13 minutes away from teams being announced, by the way. That's what you counted as well, Stewie? Yeah, it might be a conversation. Nick can't kick goals. He can find the 4 sticks, just not the 2 big ones sometimes. Yeah, delisted / retire. Shambo, who's heading to watch the VFL game on Saturday night? There'll probably be a few people, especially if the goal is playing. Could be a sellout. But we will be doing a VFL watch-along from home. Oh, it was a Nick Q&A. Okay, there we go. Sullivan, Allen playing for their careers. I wouldn't say Ed Allen is playing for his career. I think Sullivan, is he... let's have a look at our contracts right now. Let's do that. We'll have a look at who's on their final contract. Collingwood contracts. You voted no, Darbley. That's okay. I'll get you. All right. So Johnson, delisted. Frampton, has Frampton got a contract extension yet? Don't think he has. 2025. Charlie Dean will be delisted. Has my check extended yet? Finlay McRae will all but be delisted. Illaru got a year extension. I think he will have, it will be 2026 or bust for Illaru Smith, I think. Jamie Elliott, 2025, once again, has he extended, guys? Jeremy Howe, I know he hasn't extended. Joel Cochran's been good. I'm surprised he hasn't earned an extension. Or is that was that already extended? Or did he get a 2-year deal off the back of being drafted? Is that how that works? Mason Cox done. I believe whether he retires or gets delisted, it'll be one or the other. Markov, ooh, he could be in trouble. Like, yeah, he's on a game-to-game basis right now when it comes to his contract next year. He's already on the rookie list. So, Rowan Steele, I just would, it'd be devastating to see Rowan Steele get delisted at the end of this year. Maybe this is one of the players. If say Ash Johnson and Oleg Markov get delisted, I could see Rowan Steele coming on or being downgraded to the rookie list. Or maybe he's already on the rookie list. I'm pretty sure if you're a mid-season draftee, you have to go onto the primary list. I'm pretty sure. Steele side bottom, obviously expecting him to extend. Scott Pendlebury the same. Tom Mitchell, game-to-game basis, isn't it? Will Parker, so he's a rookie B, but I'm pretty sure he'll have to move to the primary list as of next year. So that will be a naming question. He's seen the field quite frequently, whether it be sub relative to other players in his sort of field of depth of field, where like the bottom 6 players type of thing. I feel like he's been emergency sub. He's played. He's been around the mark. So I'd be surprised if he gets delisted, but would be a part of the conversation. Mid-season draft. Get 6-month contract. Will Hoskin-Elliott, another player who I think will get a contract. Yeah, Markov does bring a good vibe, but the vibes weren't good. The vibes he was radiating on Sunday against Fremantle, could definitely feel those vibes where he was just doing a bit too much. You feel me? Reef won't go. Reef's extended. 2027. So, look, without a doubt, there might be 1 or 2 players who will feel maybe more, who feel very stiff about being delisted at the end of this year. I know it's a long way to go, but just looking at the fact that, as I said, McCarthy, who's key size, so that's going to put pressure on key stocks. You got Saxena, who's going to put pressure on those small to medium-sized forwards in their final contract. And then you got McGuan, who's obvious. You could almost put him anywhere and he will hopefully do a job. So all those players who have their contract coming up at the end of this year, they're in some strife, especially if we bring in a free agent. And just with the fact that we've brought in 2 players in the mid-season draft, while 2 players on a long-term injury list who have already extended will be at the club next year. So there's going to be a host of changes, delistings, retirements. If we bring in 2 free agents, or if we trade for 2 players, we could see 6, 7, 8 changes. Who knows? We still don't know about players like Darcy Cameron. That's probably a question mark with Darcy Cameron. We've got Bobby Hill. We've got Braden Maynard. So, we shall see. Who was the stiffest to get delisted from the Pies of all time? Interesting question. Do I have it here? Maybe I can have a look here. I think we might have a website where we can look at the delistings from each year before the teams come out at 6:20. Is it no, it's not AFL tables. Is it Draft Guru Draft Info? No, they get rid of that website. I'll try find it. Cameron is contracted though. Yeah, so he would be traded, but he could still be an outgoing player. And he would be a non-free agent. because he's only spent X amount of years here. Stevenson, you reckon? Stevenson wasn't delisted. He was traded. Try to find it. Collingwood list 2010 or something like that. Draft Guru, maybe. For some reason, that website wasn't working just before, but maybe it will if I do. If they close the website. Jeez, they've shut down Draft Guru. For anyone who uses Draft Guru, did you realize that the website's cooked? That's very sad. So what we'll do in about 3 minutes, I'll start the video for the final flock. We'll talk about the rolling 23 that we all did together. And then as we see the teams come out, we'll just do a live reaction sort of thing. Sav Rocker was delisted, was he? Wow. And then he went to North? Is that what happened? And then he went to the NFL? Seems like nothing's really happening on the Twitter front. Jen also reports that Jai Saxena is currently training with the VFL side. Teams will be dropping in 5 minutes, Timmy. Chat's on. We might have to be aggressive with our list changes end of the season to fit the guys you mentioned. Somebody's going to have to feel the brunt of it. Malthouse delisted him. What's our feeling on Mick Malthouse in the chat? Do we appreciate him? I mean, he brought us a premiership. He helped us break a drought. What was it, 20 years? 1990 to 2000 to 2010. I glitched out for a second. 20-year drought. Do we despise him for going to Carlton? The GOAT? Love Mick. Why do you have to go to Carlton, though? Top bloke. Richmond 10-50 to win. Here's the thing, Matty. I can't put a punt on a team playing against Collingwood, even if the odds are too good to resist. Just can't do it. It will just exacerbate the loss. Prima donna, appreciate him. Premiership coach, selfish, smart man, legend. We're all a little bit torn here. Nah, most of you say he's all good. Mick was a great coach. Lee Malthouse. Lee Matthews was better. Nah, I love him because he derailed them even more. Hey, Graham Wright, you're up next, brother. You're next, son. Do you think this is Titch's last chance for Collingwood this week? I'm not sure. Not too sure. Ben Crocker got delisted. Did well in the VFL after. We get this ready, huh? Gave Dane Swan a chance. Persevered with him. Sam Murray could have been a top player. He got done for some... Was he performance enhancements or was he taking party performers? What do you think of Daisy? What do you think of Daisy? I'm not questioning Mick. I'm just curious. I love Daisy. Daisy was one of my favorite players growing up. But naturally, can I be honest? I was a little bit disappointed that he went to Carlton, and maybe there was a bit of politics at the Collingwood Football Club that he wanted to get away from, and Carlton seemed like the next best option. Fair enough. Will Parker reminds me of Q. We'll need to keep some backs. Really? I think they're different players, mate. I think they're really different players. Sean Rustling delisted. Could have been a gun. He had injuries though, didn't he? Didn't he, Dom? As you just said, too many shoulder injuries. All right. I think I'm going to get into this whole final flock video now because we're very, very close. All right, bear with me. We're going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Well, that was very loud. That's going to scare people watching this video back. So I'm going to do that again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final flock as we await the extended teams to be released in less than a minute. So what I do want to share with you before we see the announcement, I want to show you the rolling predicted 23 that we have put together since we've heard about Beau McCreery being or experiencing more hamstring awareness. So we'll see him out for another 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. Who knows? Houston, we're hearing, is a chance to come back in. So there's that conversation of, are we rushing him back a little bit too early? I suppose we'll find out in the next minute or so whether he comes back. We'd love to see Frampton back. We as a community at Pies Footy are tipping that maybe a Ned Long gets rested. We flirted with Nick Dacos' name, but is Nick Dacos going to cop being rested when there's 3 Brownlow votes up for grabs? I just don't see Nick Dacos as the player who'd want to miss out on that opportunity, on top of just loving being on the footy field whenever it's possible. So for us, we feel maybe Ned Long gets rested. We see more of Tom Mitchell, see if there's a balance without Ned Long in the side. Markov with Houston's potential inclusion, maybe we see this happen after he did probably a little bit too much or tried to do too much against Fremantle. Cox and Dean out with players like Membry in. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Who have I not highlighted here that could be in the team as well? Rowan Steele. So to accommodate for Beau McCreery being out, we're thinking Rowan Steele in, move Lipinski to the forward line, and then Rowan Steele goes into the wing. Now, let's see if the teams have come out. And then we'll have a little gaze at it together. Refresh. This is where we just excessively press the refresh button. All right, here we are. So let's try and make of what this is. Tim Membry in, expected. Tom Mitchell in, expected. Dan Houston, okay, there you go. Comes in a little bit earlier. We opt not to be conservative, and we run the risk, and we live and die by that sword. Rowan's still in with the opportunity. So let's see who is on the field that will be considered a definite in then. Because last week... Oh... No Billy Frampton, guys, by the way. Billy Frampton will be out for another week, which, personally, as I mentioned, you've got to take calculated risks. You can't bring in Dan Houston and Billy Frampton, who are both experiencing soft tissue issues, and bring them both in and run the risk that it could be a disaster for both of them. I think damage control, Billy Frampton, another week before we face Brisbane. He is on the interchange, so there's no guarantee that he will be in the side, but I feel like, why would you put Dan Houston's name on the extended squad if he's not going to play? So I'm essentially penciling in Dan Houston. Markov, with the fact that Markov being on the bench, I feel like he could be one of the outgoing players, especially with Dan Houston in. So I'm almost penciling in the fact that Markov could be out. I think Rowan Steele's an in. Mason Cox on the bench. Once again, I'm probably factoring in Mason Cox being out. Ned Long is on the field. Nick Dacos is on the field. So neither of them will be managed, it seems. So I think Lockie Sullivan might get dropped here. It's either Sullivan or Ed Allen. I'd be surprised if Hoskin Elliott gets dropped, given he just does well as his versatile sub. Seems to do well when he comes back onto the field. Some are saying this is Charlie Dean's last chance. I don't know what a game against Richmond is going to do for your hopes in saving your position at the club, given, as we spoke about earlier in the stream, there's going to be potentially 6 changes to the list that need to happen to bring in 5 or 6 other players through the draft, through free agency, and through the fact that we have 2 players in the mid-season draft as well. Magpie Madness, welcome to Champ Pie, my friend. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Legend. Ben, thanks for the 5. I stand surprised and corrected. Houston in good shit. Yep. I think Xander McQuire reported on it anyhow. So if we go back to our predicted 23 then, with Ned Long in the side, I think I feel like McCreary's like does Ed Allen miss because Sullivan plays that forward role, and with McCreary out, I actually think Sullivan might survive this. I think Sullivan does give us a little bit of forward versatility, whereas Ed Allen has been playing exclusively as a winger. So you could see this. I reckon we could see this, Ed Allen out, or you could also potentially see something like perhaps this. These are the permutations that are running through my mind. And we've also got Charlie Dean, who we had listed as out. So this is where it gets messy. If Charlie Dean is still on the side, interesting. So we need to do something here then. What do we do here? Oop. I think Sullivan might have to miss. Maybe we do that. Or is that not enough? That's too much defense, not enough. Ed Allen needs to start maybe. What do you reckon? I've got Frampton playing. Oh, okay. Yep, that makes sense. Sorry. Duh. All right, hold on. Hang tight. Bear with me. This is why I got you guys here with me, to hold my hand. I need you guys here. So Frampton not available. Not even on the extended squad at this point. So I think these are probably the outs, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's about right, isn't it? Dean a sub? Nah, Dean won't be the sub. Maybe Allen, Sullivan sub. I can see Will Hoskin-Elliott being in the side. Dean will play. His name's stamped on the ground. Yes, I did miss that. Sully has to play in lieu of Bo. He does feel that forward pressure role, and that's why I've still got him in the side. Ed Allen in front of Rowan Steele. I mean, if you kick 4 goals in the VFL, I know it's the VFL, but I just would like to see Rowan Steele. I think we know. I always feel like we know what we're going to get with Ed Allen this year. But then you could say, look, Ed Allen's making some really positive strides. Perhaps we just keep investing on this guy playing as much footy as possible, because we know he's more likely to play finals than Rowan Steele. So you know what? I'm with you. We'll go Ed Allen starts, Rowan Steele the sub. As much as I'm fascinated by seeing Rowan Steele playing more footy, and I was just hoping maybe he'd start, but can appreciate that. Sullivan is a good sub. I think he's probably a more proven pressure forward than Rowan Steele is at AFL level. This is our very last game to take risks. So we're going to see 4 changes. I don't want to be seeing us making as many changes moving forward. Like this. So Coxie was forced because of Membry. Hoskin-Elliott, you got players coming in that maybe don't work to his favour. Dean was solid last week, says Michael. I think with the ball, with his ball in hand, his handballs were reliable. And I've always said it's not his distribution that is his issue. For some reason, I don't understand. For some reason, he just isn't up to it defensively. But he does so well with his interceptability at VFL level. It just doesn't translate. It just does not translate, unfortunately. Rowan Steele is a quicker return of investment. Ed Allen will be 12 to 18 months' time. Yeah, Rowan is more ready-made. His distribution is really good. It's obviously better than Ed Allen. Ed Allen's that type of player who probably needs to fill out before he becomes a real strength in the league. But I still think, I'd still argue Ed Allen is more likely to play in the finals than Rowan Steele. So you put your bet, you bet on Allen and you put more time into him because he could possibly be in the side. Because as soon as Bobby Hill and Jordan De Goey are available, players like Rowan Steele, Lockie Sullivan, probably not going to be in the side, right? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the final flock. Let me know what you think in the comment section about the extended teams and the rolling predictor 23. We'll find out more about the final side tomorrow at 5 p.m. around that mark. And until then, as always, go Pies. All right, now that is the video. Emma says, Will Hoskin-Elliott is a good sub. I think he'll play. I also think his versatility is quite handy as a sub, playing the swingman. He's played better as a sub in the couple games he's been that this year. So what would you do then? So my question though, right, if you guys have Will Hoskin-Elliott playing, who do you take out? Are you saying Ed Allen? It would have to be Ed Allen. It would have to be Ed Allen who gets dropped. Question, is Will Hoskin-Elliott on the bench or is he starting? Let me see. Let's see here. Will Hoskin-Elliott's on the bench. So these are the potential players being dropped. Ed Allen, Hoskin-Elliott, Mason Cox, Lockie Sullivan, and Markov. Those are the players to choose from. And we're going to do a VFL watch-along, it seems, by the way, on Saturday night. So get your dinner ready and we'll be there. We will be there for the Degoe VFL return. Dean's favourite song is ELO's Don't Bring Me Down. Can't say I know that song. Maybe I know if I hear the tune. The thing about Richmond is that all their good experienced players are all playing very good footy. Mate, they've won 2 games in a row. We've lost 2 in a row. Call me a simple man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go and edit this final flock video. And until tomorrow, we'll do another live stream reacting to the final teams coming at it around 5 o'clock. So we shall see you then. And as always, go Pies.